All right, I was supposed to do this live hours ago, but I got busy um doing a lot of other things. Uh this full moon has been keeping me up at night. Like for example, last night I was up until probably like it was really late that I was up, like until the morning. But it hit differently, probably because of the different location. So it hit pretty much differently. Um, and then I had some stuff that I had to take care of. So I'm not going to be here that long. I am tired, actually. I am actually very tired. First of all, I'm going to put up some protection. Anybody that sends any negativity my way is returned instantly back to you. I invoke my spirits that walk with me, my ancestors. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I think that I get harassed a lot because of the way that I look, because I'm so comely. I'm so comely. I just kind of look like that. Hold on. So, you know, I'm really I'm really irritated because regardless to the state of social media and what people think, I actually had absolutely no plans of being on YouTube the past month. Actually, I've been planning a sabbatical from YouTube since January. Hmm. But I didn't want any problems, seeing as though there was things that was being said, and y'all know the other issues. But I don't do chaos, confusion, arguments. I think that some people, when you tell them, like I've been on YouTube for upwards to probably 15 years. I'd have to go back and look at my email. Hey, Stefan, how are you? Happy full moon. I'd have to go back and look at my old channel to see if I can find anything related to that channel. But I've been on YouTube for a very long time. And um, I mean, I think that it's natural for a human being, even with a spiritual channel, to talk about yourself, to talk about your likes and your dislikes. You know what I mean? And I think there's some people that really, in order to be annoying, and I don't deal with those types of people, to be every single thing and to do every single thing that you don't like. For example, everybody knows that I have a pet peeve, and this is just in general. And this normally doesn't happen. Maybe I got a glimpse of it or an echo of it before, and it got on my nerve like it's really insignificant, but it's a big deal to me. When I say something, when I give a reason, when I make a statement, and I always speak from my heart, there's nothing fake about me. Okay. and I say something, and the person says, no, it's not that, it's this. And it's like, what? That's like some kind of personality disorder, though. I, I can't stand that. That's just like if somebody, okay, it's kind of like this. If somebody says, "What color did you wear today?" "Oh, I wore a blue top and some blue jeans." And they say, "No, you wore a purple top and black jeans." Huh? No, I wore. You know what I'm saying? It's just arguments just to have arguments. And see, this is one of the reasons why I don't like people in general. I like some people, you know, I could get along with, but there's some people I would never get along with. They would just get on my nerve horribly. I don't like, I think listening is a gift. And then that's another thing, but that's a whole other another that I'm not even going to talk about. I think that what I have experienced in social media was literally one in a million, because yeah, and still to this day, I just take it as being special. I'm special. That, like, that only happens one in a million. And if I could tell y'all what it's really about, it would start a war. So I'm not gonna do it. Sometimes you know what you know, and you just keep it to yourself, and you just keep it moving. So, but I don't like chaos and arguments. And when I created this show, I was actually looking at somebody. I was looking at something, and they were telling me to go argue with a woman. And I said, I don't want to go argue with nobody. So, you know how, like, when men are trying to argue and fight with you, and you as a woman say, go fight a man? I guess this person wanted to flip that. This whole gender equality thing, some people are just over. I'm sorry. I'm very old fashioned. Um and I don't like it. I'm not, what do you call that, a street rat. I'm not for the streets. I don't go, like, if I had to go and kick some ass, like, like, y'all know on Charmed, you know how Phoebe, one of her active powers is that she can do martial arts. Like, if it's a situation like that, but it's just like, it's got to be about something. Like, I don't want to, I don't have that in me to do that. Like, I think when I was in my early to mid 30s, I worked that situation out. Like, if there was any anger inside of me, which it really wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like Bruce Willis or somebody, or like, you know, like, and then now I'm 48 years old. I don't want to argue and fight with nobody. I think that's why people have blood pressure problems. And there are some people that literally suffer from acute renal failure, or like that. Typically, that can happen. And as a spiritual healer, I can tell you that, people that are constantly in a state of arguments and fights and just chaos and fighting, Like, and it doesn't matter what age you are, you can literally suffer from acute kidney and heart failure. And it's not that I'm afraid. Jackie Chan, yeah, from Rush Hour 3. Oh, goodness. Yeah, exactly. Like, no. I remember it was a certain time when I was just pregnant for like 3 years straight. I was just pregnant. And, really, I meant to make a little short today, but my skin is still healing from that Georgia sun. And I've been using this glycerin soap that's really been helping. But I wanted to talk about how manifestation of magic is very similar to giving birth sometimes, and it just, I guess it depends on. I'll make the video. I'm kind of all over the place because I'm a little tired, but I'm not, and and then I'm not a hyphy type of person. Like, if my energy, like, I'm not the type of person to get escalated. I'll get emotional because I'm a Cancer. Like, if somebody pisses me off, I might start crying. I may raise my voice, but as far as like getting escalated, like to the point of like I'm screaming and yelling and throwing shit and I don't do stuff like that. I've never been like that. Like, my emotions can come on very, very strongly though. They can. Like, if I start crying and stuff, like, you know, well, I guess that could be just as equivalent. I have no idea, but like being hyphy, like, unless it's something that I feel passionate about, that's not what you're gonna get to me in the end. So I guess the one thing that I do feel passionate about is the people that I love. Straight up and down, like my kids, my grandkids, my family. But I've even learned quiet strength when it comes to that as well. You know, so I don't like chaos and confusion and arguments, and I'm just not used to it. Like, I was not raised that way. I keep telling people that I was raised by two Virgos. By the way, my father's birthday has already passed, but my mother's birthday is coming up on the 22nd. And they were both very quiet. Like, I think my parents had one or two arguments. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember my father spanked me, but it wasn't because I was yelling at him. It was because I whispered something to him that was rude, very rude, that he didn't like. So I just all that loud. I don't like that. If I feel like this, here's my thing in my older age. If it's a situation that you cannot ever work out, number one, you might be dealing with black magic. Because if it don't make no damn sense, if conflict makes no sense, it is either coming from black magic or trauma or either possibly mental illness, possibly. But other than that, the people should be able to work out their issues, unless they need some time apart or something. But to just and to just keep arguing about the same thing, for me, how I recognize it as unorganized chaos and black magic, because it's just something like an egregore that is created to get people in a certain state, in a certain emotional and mental state. So then why do it? Like, I can be like, I've been in the middle of arguments with people and I'll go, wait a minute. I'll say, this is not a part of destiny. And they'll be like, what? I'll be like, this ain't supposed to be happening. And they'll be like, well, you know what? Wait a minute, you're right. This ain't supposed to be happening. So, I've become very keen when it comes to stuff like that. And that's why I've learned to not argue about anything anymore. Like making a statement is not arguing. That's not going back and forth. Like that's you making a statement. I'll make a statement, but as far as me, because if I don't accept what you saying or what you doing or your energy, I just don't accept it. And I don't have to. And I think that is like that's the weirdest part of it. It's just it's weird. It's weird. And then so I'm telling this person, I'm like, I don't even know this person, and you want me to sit and argue with this person, or with anybody about what? And get your blood pressure up. When you argue with somebody, it puts pressure on the brain, the lungs, the kidneys, the liver. It literally, your body goes through trauma when you are arguing with people. And then, especially if it's not even your bag, if it's not even something that you give a damn about, well, now you're just taking in somebody else's stuff. Which is why when it's some goofy stuff that comes out of bad spirits and black magic, I recognize it instantly, and I'm just like, I'm not falling for it. And I banish whatever that spirit is through time and through space. Bye. Because you're trying to get me to use my body and use my energy, my precious energy, so that you can, what, siphon it? Whatever that entity is doing. And so that's my whole thing about it. And people don't want to listen to that. Well, then if you don't want to listen to that, and you're arguing with me, and I'm trying to be cordial with you, but you're arguing. And then also, I can't stand it when people don't take accountability for the things that they have done. It's I don't like being frustrated. I don't I don't like that. And I'm warning a lot of people about that. You're not gonna fare well doing that. You're not gonna fare well doing that. Your body, you're being used as a catalyst. It doesn't take a witch to know that. Like you can be a Christian and have that discernment. So therefore we're not having a debate. Like that's a fact. That's non-debatable. It probably even mentions it in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? So different belief systems has nothing to do with that simple fact. And I don't, as far as like when it comes to, arguing and proving, and then I don't like to argue about the same thing over and if you arguing about the same thing over and over again like a broken record, that's a sign of a bad spirit that's like ping ponging back and forth between you and that person. And I don't choose to allow unfamiliar bad spirits to have that kind of power over me. So yeah, if I do think I'm better than that. And it doesn't matter if I fell on hard times. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to be like that forever. That's temporary. What I'm saying makes sense. and you're not gonna force me. So and I think that a lot of people love to try to force their demons on other people, strangers, complete strangers in social media. It's like, I don't even know you. There's literally a phone book full of therapists, psychotherapists and psychoanalysts. They go and they see Reiki people. They do their clearing and stuff. I think that those people that study the mind and they help people that are going through things. Um, there was actually a very good movie that Holly Berry made. I can't think of the name of it right now. Stefan, you'll probably figure it out for me. But she's like a psychologist, and I think it's Gothica. Yeah, Gothica. And it just shows like therapists and psychologists and how they definitely do have a connection with like the supernatural realm. And so, those people are trained to deal with that. Now, if I'm doing work for you and if I'm dealing with you as a client, then that would be my job to a fault, to a certain level. When we start going into, if a spiritual problem starts to, if a spiritual issue or possession ever escalates to an actual mental illness, then that's when I can only be of a certain help. That's when I'm going to recommend professional help. You know what I'm saying? So, and we're seeing a lot of that in the spiritual community. Um, and I just don't, I shouldn't have to deal with it. And like I said, I'm not going to talk to you guys about what I know because it is just crazy. Oh my goddess. Oh my goddess. I'm not going to talk about it ever, but it's crazy. It's insanity. It is. You know what I'm saying? Um, I might write a book about it one day, but that's going to be after some time has passed. I would love to, I'm a writer too. I would love to sit. Of course, I have, of course, I have gifts of writing stories and books and telling stories. And, of course, I have that gift, so it would just be just so heavenly for me to just be able to actually sit down and just write a book, just type it up. In fact, I love movies where the movie is centered around a writer. There was a movie with Debbie Reynolds. I think it's called Mom, actually. And he goes to stay with his mother for a little while after he divorces and he's writing his book or whatever. Him and Debbie Reynolds are so cute. Y'all should see. I like movies like that. In fact, even okay, when I was younger, and even still now, I do like horror flicks. Action. I'm not really into action movies anymore. But like I do like movies that are kind of like okay, that dry comedy, like Meet the Parents, Meet the Fockers, like literally that entire movie series. That's me right there. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like very calm and those people are not hooping and hollering. They have situations going on, but they're handling the situation calmly. And it's just good kind of old fashioned comedy. And then plus it's kind of funny looking at Robert De Niro play that role because he's like a family man and he becomes a grandfather or whatever. So it's kind of, so I'm just not into like, I remember when I was younger, one of the first gangster movies that I saw was Colors. Y'all remember that movie? Oh my God, this. Oh, I'll probably never watch that movie again. Boys in the Hood was pretty good, but but like the older you get, the more mature that you get. You know what I'm saying? And so, we can't just stay the same. Like, and I don't have to, do stuff like that to feel young now. If I go back in my younger years, like in the 80s and 90s, the 80s and 90s was the stuff. It was the shits. It was the shit. Um, I come from the era of the Lost Boys, Dream a Little Dream, License to Drive, The Labyrinth. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't, you know, and it's like I said, when I was in school, I have a memory that will always be in my brain to where like they would literally be fighting after school. I was never a part of the after school fights. They would literally be having a fight like by the buses. Like it'd be some kind of fight out in the yard. And I went to Westport Middle School, by the way. And I would walk away from the fight. I would go get on the bus while everybody else would be running towards the fight. Like literally, it would be me and my friend. Uh, I'm not gonna say her name, but it would be me and her because she'd be like, "Ooh, let's go look." I'm like, "Nope." I grab her and get on the bus. You know what I'm saying? Uh-uh. And so it would be me and a few other nerds, and we just be sitting on the bus waiting for it to take off. Of course, when they had a fight after school, the buses would be delayed, and it would irritate me because when I was in middle school, I would still go home and play with my dolls, but then eventually I threw all of them away. Like for some reason, I said when I turned 11 or 12, I said, "Oh, I'm too old. I'm too young." No, I said I'm too old for dolls now. Anyway, but I ain't never been into that. If I were at a nightclub and a fight broke out there, I would never go back to that nightclub. I wouldn't do it. I don't like that. I don't like the feeling of fear and insecure and am I going to die tonight? I don't like to test the waters. I don't like to take risks like that. I don't, which is why when I went to Georgia, I stayed there for 10 years because I'm a very stable person. I felt like traveling and then I was also having a lot of anxiety and I was it's a long story on that. Otherwise, I would have came back much sooner. But I just, in anything that involves some kind of risk, I'm going to think about it, especially arguments and fights. And I'm going to tell y'all something. Spirit sent me a very, very, very important message through my body. This happened probably in 2023. Somebody came to me with some drama, and then all of a sudden, like, I just felt sick of heart. Like, it felt like my heart said, no, warning. It was like my heart did a kick. It was like something was coming from my heart, and my heart said, boop, get away. But my body let me know, like, no, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to let this in. And I think that, especially if you young and in your 20s, like a lot of people think, oh, well, I'm young and I can do. No, like that's when you should start thinking more about energy and how it is affecting you. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, um, just not into it. Just because you have a young body or you feel like your body is younger, because there are some people that, they're older and they're healthier than younger people. But, just because you feel like you young don't mean that you should just use yourself up like that or abuse yourself. So, and I kind of been like that. I've been like that for a very, very long time. I've always had an old soul. I have never ever liked that kind of stuff at all. I don't like it. I don't like to be connected to it. I really don't want to talk about it. If I'm talking about it, it is to transmute it. It's never to stay in it. Ongoing, colossal, a carousal of fucking what do they call that? Like a fucking Ferris wheel of drama. No, that's no, and I'm not gonna like I'm just for me, what I know how to do. Hey, I got that Pisces energy. I know how to disassociate. I can just float away. That duality in me, kind of like what Aquariuses can do. And I was raised by like when I got into my teenage years, my grandmother had a lot of influence on me because I lived with her, right? And so my grandmother was an Aquarius, and like if it was something going on, I would just sit like I always just every at anything, like I would just look at my grandmother. And I did that often because I was always very enamored by her. I have always been very fascinated by my grandmother. When I was a little kid, um and me and my mother would go visit my grandmother, I would cry whenever I had to leave my grandmother. I did not like it. But anyway, she would just sit there and you could tell that she would just kind of drift off, or like I'm not interested in that discussion, or I'm not it, and people have the right to do that. People don't have to be bothered with other people's crap if they don't want to. I can't stand it when people project. I can't stand people that project. Like, no, that's how you feel. That's how you feel. I don't want the attention of drama. No, thank you. And then plus somebody was saying something too, saying that I want their attention when I'm just making a statement, because I want to let people know that my mind is always here, and what I think of a situation. And why would I want to be involved with something that is sabotaging me? That's stupid. Who does that? Not me. So that's not a network that I would build for myself. Of why would I, as a reader and a spiritualist, or a witch, or a healer, or shaman, whatever you want to call me, why would I purposely want to connect myself with people that are not going to be interested in the same thing that I'm interested in? Like, and that's when I just digress, and I really want to take a break from social media. I really honestly do. But it seems like in social media, there are a lot of dysfunctional black and brown people that they feel that they are going to force you. They're going to force you. I don't care that you don't want to talk about this or you don't want to be a part of this. I'm still going to bring you up, and then I'm going to play dumb. I'm going to constantly try to involve you, and then I'm going to play dumb. That's it. No, and I don't like it. Like, I get along just fine with black people as long as they're normal. I get along perfectly with black folk, but not no black person that is hooping and hollering and singing and dancing and buck dancing. I don't like that mess. And all that fighting and stuff and arguing, and I'm gonna beat you up and I'm gonna do this and negativity. No. I mean, I can listen. If anybody has ever heard me being negative, it's because I'm sending something back to somebody. You know what I'm saying? But I'm also stating Mostly because if I want to send something back to you, I'm gonna send it back to you. I ain't gotta say nothing to you, right? But if I want to make a statement and let my position be known, okay, I am asserting my position and how I see the situation, and you got people on here that are so disrespectful, and then they'll say at the end of the day, what they will say is, I can do this to you because you're black, and I'm not used to that. That is culture shock for me as a black woman that grew up in the Midwest. I am not used to that. I'm not even used to it in my family. Like if there was any arguments that broke out between, like, me and my cousins or my uncles and aunts, my grandmother would shut that down so fast. Anybody that I care about or that I am that halfway listens to me, I'm gonna tell them, Stop it, stop arguing and talk, communicate, speak to each other. Otherwise, walk away, take a breather, take a break, go get some air. Not escalating to the point of like some bullshit. I don't know. I mean, back when I was still in Georgia, when I felt like I had to do that, but now that I'm not in Georgia anymore, I can take a break from social media. That's exactly what I was doing. As you guys notice, I didn't even announce that I'm just now posting on Facebook that I moved back home. And it's been almost a month. It's been like 3 weeks, over 3 weeks. I didn't even announce that I had came back home until like a week or so later. And that should have shown that I didn't do nothing for somebody else. I did that. That didn't have nothing to do with social media. People be posting, "Oh, I'm here, I'm there," and there's right now I ain't even really got that kind of crowd right now. It's some people. I know it's a lot of y'all out there that y'all happy for me or whatever. Yes, Stefan, you didn't know? Wow, you have been gone. Yep, I moved back on the night. We arrived on the 19th of August. Mm-hmm. I don't like that kind of mess. Who does that at our age? Like, what the hell? I never did that when I was young. But I know why it's being done, and I know sometimes you just gotta know what you know and keep it moving. You ain't gotta tell nobody. For real. Yeah, and I'm not helping nobody that's sitting up there like trying to drag me into some mess. Like, no, thank you. So anyway, I gotta go, y'all. I got a long day coming up today. I have a lot to do today. Today's Monday. I have a lot to do. I'm kind of still hungry. I think I'm gonna grab me some kind of snack. I might eat some of that cinnamon applesauce I got in there, y'all. I love me some cinnamon applesauce. Oh, I love that stuff. Oh yeah. Oh, that posted. It must have. I didn't even realize it. Yeah, yeah. That we actually rode the bus in Stevan. Like, okay, the bus that took us from Atlanta to St. Louis, and for some reason I don't know why I thought we was making a stop a late. I didn't know why. I don't know why I read. It's like I read it wrong. I thought we were going from Atlanta to Chicago, but no, the first bus took us from Atlanta all the way to St. Louis, right? It was so relaxing. I loved riding the bus. Like, people make it seem like riding a bus is so horrible, and it was not. Like, when I can imagine that it's very similar to a train. And then this particular bus, even though their internet sucks because they only gave you like a certain amount of internet to use, um, but the actual bus itself had like these blue kind of twilight twinkly lights, and you could tell that it was kind of like a newer bus. And when it would go over bumps and stuff, it just felt like a gentle rocking. And never had I been so relaxed traveling. I'm actually glad that I didn't drive. That was really a relief. But then when we got on that second bus in St. Louis, it was during the day because we left at like 11 o'clock at night. Well, it was during the day, and that bus was kind of rickety, but it had like better internet or whatever. But the bus kept breaking down. It was like for some reason the air wasn't working and stuff, but we made it. And we made it on time too. Them Greyhound bus drivers, they don't be playing around. I have a lot of respect for them, you know what I'm saying? And appreciation. They got us here safe. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's I don't really want to talk about family because, the evildoers. You had a barbecue sandwich in front. Oh, that's what I'm gonna do today. I think either today or I think it's gonna have to be today. I haven't been to Gates Barbecue yet, and I'm going to get me some Gates Barbecue. I don't know how they prices is looking now. And I'm probably gonna get like the cheapest thing on the menu with them fries and some barbecue sauce to dip it in. And they be having that burn in special or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Pulled pork special. Oh my God, the freaking! I have not been to Gates Barbecue yet, and I want to go today. So we'll see. And I don't think it can be delivered or anything. You just have to go there. They've got like several restaurants. Their restaurant, Gates Barbecue, is exclusive only to Kansas and Missouri. So anywho. But I'm probably just saying that because I'm hungry. I'm probably gonna be cheap and save my little money. But anyway, um, and then the way that I look at men, you're not gonna change it. The way I look at men and what their job is, what their duty is, you're not gonna change it. If you fall short of that, I'm just gonna think what I think about you. If you're a man that's trying to get a woman caught up in all that ruckus and stuff, you ain't nothing to me. Like, bye. And men that are trying to bring friction between women, and they like to see women fight over them and starting all this mess and keeping stuff up. I don't like you. I don't like you. As a man, you're weird to me. Like something is really wrong with you. I feel like if you're a man and you want to hoop and holler all day and argue and go back and forth with a woman, something is wrong with you, number one. But if you want to do that to your peers, then do that. And like what we're seeing here is men bringing women into their arguments. Why are they doing that? Like, I think that they're possessed. I'm just going to come straight up and down and say it. The purpose of the possession, I'm not going to get into, but it's got to be possession. And because, men don't do that. What are you arguing about? Like, even if a person is not hooping and hollering and they're just saying stuff back and forth between each other, like, why are you starting that mess with people? Why? You're supposed to be a man. And then men like that'll say, let me lead you. No, sir. I'm not gonna let you lead me. You're starting arguments between people. I don't even know this person. I don't know these people. And it's just like ding, ding, ding all day long, just arguing and fighting. I don't like dealing with a man that's arguing and fighting with another man. A man shouldn't have to argue with nobody. What are you arguing and going back and forth for? That's a waste of time. But y'all gotta understand that these people are possessed. They don't have no control over themselves. I'm just telling y'all the truth about the situation. In the times that I went back and forth, it was only because of things that was happening. But I've already covered my bases. Like, for example, I have already spoken with the Kansas City, Missouri police. I have already spoken with the Kansas City, Missouri DFACS, CPS department, because they done already started riddling around, just acting cray cray. So they already know. They are very, very, very well aware. Um, Jacob actually has been seen by a doctor. He actually had a CAT scan. He had a CT scan, and blood work and stuff like that. So he's already been like seen and checked out or whatever since we've gotten back, which is a positive thing. And everything was normal. And so social services and our local area and everything, they already know the entire situation. They already know what's going on. I'm just telling you, Kansas City is small, much smaller than Georgia or California. Kansas City is small. So, and word travels fast, and so it is what it is. Okay. Stefan, I bet you would love that Gates barbecue. I love they fries, man. They got the best fries, like they real thick and fat. And of course, you do not eat Gates barbecue sauce with ketchup. I'm sorry, you don't eat Gates barbecue fry. You don't eat their fries with ketchup. You eat their fries with the barbecue sauce, okay? And I am a classy girl. I like the original. So I always have the original. I don't like that sweet. Sometimes I like sweet barbecue sauce though, you know what I'm saying? But I love, love, love Gates barbecue sauce, the original classic. It's the perfect spicy, it's the perfect smoky. It is just wonderful stuff. So, and I haven't been to Tassos yet or whatever. But so mm, I don't do chaos confusion. What I put in the title? Hold on. Oh yeah. I put in there, I don't do chaos and confusion and all of that ruckus. I do peace and harmony. That's what I do. That's what I do. 'Cause, it ain't worth it. Even if I do get into it with somebody, I try to talk it out. Let's talk it out. We can't talk. If we can't talk, especially if I don't even know you, I'm not going to be dealing with no never ending drama with people that I don't know. Hell no. If it's some drama with people that matter to me, then yeah, I'm going to, eventually sit down and work that situation out with them. People don't have to deal with you. A parasocial relationship, it's nobody's bound to that. Nobody's bound to that. Like you can't just come into social media and just bind yourself to somebody or bound somebody to something. No, I don't give a damn who told you to do it. I don't care. Go what you know what I've been telling people lately, Stevan? Go take care of your kidneys. That's been that's been tripping people out. Go take care of your kidneys. Do y'all know what the kidneys are responsible for? The kidneys are responsible for filtering waste out of the body and the blood. And I think that also kidneys, their function is also for protection spiritually. Things inside of your body, your organs is not just for functioning of the body, but they also do things metaphysically and spiritually. And to be aligned with people that do nothing for their body, like and then being involved with drama all day, every day, toxicity, and then I'm gonna drink some sour sop tea. Uh, so you're just like washing and rinsing and repeating. I'm just gonna be dealing with all this negativity, but I'm gonna have some Malayan tea or mugwort tea or it's like what, like that doesn't make any sense to me. So you're basically telling your body that you want to heal, but then again you don't. Oh, I want to heal, but then again I don't. So basically that's a contradiction. I don't like that. I don't like that. Literally I have always had a peaceful, just and I don't even want, you ever notice how you having a conversation with that kind of person and all of a sudden, hold on, y'all. And all of a sudden, it feels like your body is reacting, and your back start hurting, and your chest start hurting, and you just don't feel right. That's because that person is doing something, and if it's not family or somebody that matters, that you have to what, y'all know what I'm saying? And then some of these people just got an intention to hurt people. Yeah, oh yeah, water balance. Yes. Yes. And I do be kind of heavy on the salt sometimes. I don't want to say heavy on the salt, but I don't necessarily believe that salt is bad for the body. Maybe too much iodized salt. But we typically use iodized salt in stews and soups and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But you can use pink Himalayan or sea salt or Celtic salt. I think they even got some kind of, like, it's like a brown salt or something. But yeah, so yeah, they do. They remove toxicity, which is why toxic situations, it is gonna go straight to the kidneys first. So right now, my spirit team, because I gotta have a spirit team. Screw that crap. Y'all, I'm kind of getting over a little cold because when you move from one place to another, your body getting adjusted. We all came down with little common colds and stuff. But my spirit team has a whole plan. And the first reading that I did was for the Aries, which, when it comes to those health readings, I think that you can watch all 12 of the zodiacs. I don't do Fuchsias anymore. Because I don't really do the 13th sign astrology. I don't do that. But it started with the Aries, and Aries need to be worried about their kidneys, right? So that means that you need to be drinking, plenty of water and fluids, and maybe juicing and doing things of that nature. But what is the point in doing anything for your health when you're just going to go and be toxic every day? Like, you can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to stay in toxic energy all day, but I'm going to juice apples and lemons." Like, what? Like, no, that's not that's not going to do you any good. Like, people, okay, your diet is important, but it's also about the energy that you take in and the energy that you put out. And everything that you put out is affecting you. But mainly everything that you take in is affecting you. So people don't understand what the word soul food actually means. What are you feeding to your soul? So I just know, like, and I'm not gonna be bothered with it. And see, guys, see, that's the whole thing about it, is that I'm way too telepathic. I'm so damn telepathic that I can hear people fucking thinking about me. And I've asked Spirit if it was because that gift is overdeveloped or imbalanced, and they said no. So what I have to do is I have to learn coping mechanisms to deal with that shit, because I can hear when people thinking about me. I can sense it when people thinking about me. Even if you're thinking about me, and especially if you're talking about me, I can. You have a conversation about me, I'm gonna hear it, and I'm gonna and my mind is going to automatically be able to interpret it as love or hate. So of course there's people that talk about me, but they come from a real place of love because they love me. But the people that hate, people that want to see me dead, nobody got time for you. Mhm. I'll be 99 years old, 100 years old. Then, when I finally croak, they'll be like, "We finally got her." They'll be gone before me, though. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, this is weird to me. And I can't stand a narcissist and they accusations. You want this. Oh, okay. You know what? You gonna think that up until I have to do? Am I ever gonna have to hit you with a billy club? I'm not talking about nobody in my family. Y'all can ask my family. I've never been violent at all, ever. I've never laid hands on anybody in my family. I'm talking about folks, other folk that I'm not familiar with you. Okay, I'm just not familiar with you. I don't know you. I'm not in it. And then if I'm not familiar with the way you move, I'm not familiar with how you think. I'm not familiar with that. Okay. I don't know what that is. I don't know, and I'm never gonna get and I'm a very adaptable person. But if it's something that's toxic, no thank you. Drink you a big bottle of water every day, that's good. Yeah, they do. And it's good to drink that cranberry juice and stuff for the kidneys. You know what I'm saying? Drinking stuff, eating stuff that's good for the kidneys. But what good is that gonna do if you, like, for example, if you don't really know how to manage stress? Some people's jobs can be very stressful, but you have to learn how to manage that stress, which is why it's nothing wrong with doing breathing exercises and things of that nature to manage stress. You don't want to just sit and be stressed out like for hours and hours or minutes at a time. If something is stressing you, you got to take your cleansing breath and you got to know how to take care of your body. And it's so many people that don't know how to do that. It's so weird, y'all. All of a sudden, I broke out in hives. So my body is readjusting to being back in Missouri. My skin is even changing too. So I'm just not for all that mess. Even if it's a quiet storm, you know how sometimes you can have those quiet storms, that emotional storm that's real quiet. But I'm even transmuting that as it, because I just don't like to feel bad. I don't like to feel sick. I don't like to feel uptight or pressed over anything. Like, I just don't. Because sometimes that stuff that you're feeling uptight and pressed about, the adversary means for it to kill you. That's why that situation, until you work that situation out, that's why it's there. And managing through that situation, you know what I'm saying, is important. That's just like if you're getting spiritually attacked or psychically attacked, or if something is going on that arises out of, black magic or baneful magic or witchcraft. I think it's important for you to understand and learn your body and the signs that it gives you and release that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially if you somebody that, does rituals and meditation and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't believe in doing it the way a lot of people do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, stress is the number one killer. Stress. They said they got some kind of new COVID. We ain't supposed to talk about that. Can we say that word yet? Y'all hear about that new variant that's supposed to feel like glass in your damn throat? Oh my God, yes. I guess some people are more sensitive to stuff like, because I had a sore throat a couple of days ago, but it didn't feel like no glass was in my throat. Like, dang, like, I guess different stuff affects people in different ways, though. I'm not saying that I had it, but yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? I just, even when I was a baby, I ain't never been really high strung. I think it kind of scared a few of my family members though, when they witnessed me at war with people because they had never seen that side of me really. Like it was something that was just like, whoa. And so I'm calming all of that all the way down because I'm not gonna do it. I have faith and trust in my spirits and the Most High, and I already know that everything that anybody ever thinks that they gonna do to me, he or she or whatever you want to call it, is already working that situation out. So there's no need for me to get high strung or fight with somebody that's powerless. If you're not God and if you're not speaking for God, you have no power. Makes sense to me. You don't have no power because you're not God. You can be God of self, but you're not the universal most high. Okay, yeah, no, you're not. So who are you? Are you of some kind of authority that I need to be answering to? No, you're not. Everybody has their own relationship with God. God never punishes me. God never hurts me. God does not hate me. God does not want me to fear. That's my relationship with God. You know, that's why I don't like it when people say God fearing. What does that even mean? They don't even, to me, that doesn't even make any sense, but people can say whatever they want to say. Is this their prerogative? And then here's another thing, my identity. I've had so many people trying to recreate, rewrite, or choose my identity. What is that? I think it's a part of some kind of disorder. But that's why I am a professional reader. When I read for people, they like, oh, you're spot on. Some of these people be saying stuff about you. You be like, what? I could have swore a couple of months ago I did a cleanse of my subconscious, so I know that it's not coming from there. You know what I'm saying? Like, this, I don't know. I guess I don't know. I believe in having warrior and even evil spirits that protect you. But if those warrior and evil spirits don't actually protect you and they don't serve you, then they gotta go. Okay. Your warrior spirits that some would label them as evil, you're gonna say that they're good, right? They serve you. But if it's not serving you, and I'm sorry, I just see a lot of people doing stuff that don't serve them. I don't care what you think What you would I don't care what you say. It's not serving you. Not serving you at all. All I see is liver failure, heart failure, kidney failure, and constipation, diarrhea. That's all I see. I don't, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? So, don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. But, some people I don't care about. I'm just like, let's just I feel like if you suffering and you're not seeking help, just suffer in silence. Especially when your suffering leads to you trying to suffer other people, you know? Speaking of which, there's a video on Suffer the Children's channel that I'm gonna go watch. I keep track of my little babies that have been, you know, departed. I feel like I can do that because I already did everything else. I did everything. Um, all right, y'all. That's pretty much it. I gotta go. I'm sleepy. I'm getting ready to go sleep. I think I'm gonna pass on any more food today and just go to sleep. All right, y'all. Happy witching hour. Blessings to y'all. I'll see y'all later. Okay.